Hello, cheapskaters. My name is Kath Armstrong. I'm the creator of the Cheapskates Club, where our goal is to live life debt-free, cashed up, and laughing. If this is your first time at our channel, welcome. And if it's not, welcome back. To join the live chat tonight, you'll need to be logged into your YouTube channel, YouTube account, or your Gmail account. If you don't have either of those, not a problem. You can always leave a comment in the comments below me, and I will do my best to reply to you. If I can't, I'm sure there's another cheapskater out there who can. Guys, before we get started, who has seen the news tonight? I know this is going to be about our 1 month pantry test, but did you see the news tonight? It is scary out there, people. Oh my goodness, it's just frightening. And I'm looking, gosh, we've got lots of comments already, lots of hellos. Jade, Barbara, Jody, Truth is One, Karen, Jane S., Delaney. Delaney is our moderator tonight, people. Please be kind to her and mind your manners. Trina. Let me see, where else are we? Mrs. Dillagaff, Kathleen, Julia, Catherine Kelly, Glennis, Yatta. I forgot that right this time. Oh my goodness. Jane Allen, Maureen. Hello, Maureen. Ms. Aussie Thunder, Kathleen Hughes, Lois, Outback 6, Sandra, Ali, Tegan, Gail, Miss Cupcake, Krista, Angelina, Outback Tanya. Hello, Tanya. Welcome. It's good to see you here. Susan, catnaps. I love that. Catnaps. Every now and then I feel like I need a catnap. So, guys, I'm another really stressful evening. The news tonight is grim, folks. Aren't you glad you're a cheapskate? Oh, I am. So glad. Really, really glad. So I mention it because for the rest of this week, you'll probably hate me, but I have a whole heap of videos that are ready to just go. So I'm just going to schedule them and let them roll for you. And they're on all sorts of topics. So be prepared. But a couple of them will sort of tie in with the news tonight and talk of a global recession, a worldwide recession. We've all heard that before. And they've gone, no, it didn't happen. And I actually think it did. It did. You don't have to be a really bright bookkeeper to fudge the books. You just have to be bright enough not to get caught. So I think it did. But anyway, that's just me. People will tell me I'm wrong. But it's really, really, really scary out there. And so that also ties in with our 1 month pantry challenge. So how did you go? The month's over. I'm pretty sure I heard sighs of relief coming from all over the place, especially in our house. Did you survive? Did your family complain? Did you complain? Did you find lots of gaps that you didn't think that you had? What sort of things did you miss? I missed the thing I missed most, fresh milk, which is really weird because I don't mind UHT milk. How long was your shopping list at the end of the month? I think for our household, we actually survived really well. I stuck to my guns, and even though the boys didn't stick with it all the way to the letter, I stuck to my guns. And yeah, really, other than the fresh milk, I didn't find I missed anything. The boys missed fresh milk and they missed pepperoni for their pizzas. So they bought their own milk and they bought their own pepperoni, which they do anyway. Now, we ran out of fresh veggies, fresh salad veg, like the tomatoes, the lettuce. $12 each. She's going to buy one. Cucumbers were $3 each the other day, so I'm not going to buy one. We ran out of those the first week, and I knew we would. And, of course, being winter here, there were none in the garden. But we did have tons of capsicums and tons of eggplant. And, of course, there was heaps of frozen and dehydrated veggies and some tins. I had tinned corn, tinned peas, tinned tomatoes, of course. So we were sort of right, really. It was just that if I wanted a salad sandwich for lunch, I couldn't have it. But otherwise, we pretty much used what we had on hand, what was in the house. When the fresh milk ran out, I opened the UHT milk for our breakfast and tea and coffee. And I used powdered milk to make white sauce and custards. And I used it in baking if I baked. And I found I didn't do a lot of baking, which was really interesting because I tend to do a bit. I don't know whether I had a mental block about it and thinking can't use it because we might need it with the flour, the sugar, cocoa, whatever. Or I don't really know why, but I just didn't do much baking at all. Like I said, I use powdered milk in the baking, but I usually use powdered milk in my baking anyway. I did swap out coconut oil for butter because I was keeping my butter for things that I thought it mattered, whereas I know I've used coconut oil in my baking before and it was fine. And I used it because I had a lot of it. If I'd had, I would have used apples or applesauce if I didn't have the coconut oil. I did become almost fanatical about making sure everything was used up completely, even the tea bags. I allowed myself 2 tea bags a day, and from those 2 tea bags, I would get 5-6 cups of tea, depending on what I was doing and how cold it was. And they worked really well. And what I'd do was in the morning, I would have 1 tea bag and make a cup of tea, let it steep for 2 minutes, take it out, put it in the little dish. When I wanted my next cup of tea, that tea bag went into the mug with the hot water on top, and I let it steep for 3 minutes, a bit longer to get the strength. Now, that's not a bad thing because the longer your tea steeps, the more antioxidants it releases. So I was happy with that. And, of course, 3 minutes steeping, I could empty the dishwasher or do something. Then I'd take that 1 tea bag out. The next cup of tea will get a fresh tea bag, and I'd repeat the process. So that was 2 tea bags for 4 cups of tea. When Wayne came home, he would put the 2 tea bags in my mug and fill it with the boiling water, and that was out of my thermos because I've been using the thermos, and just let it steep longer. It was fine. I like strong tea. I like strong coffee. I like really strong tea. Just let it steep a little longer. So it worked really well. And sometimes that would be me done for the end of the day. Sometimes, after dinner, if I was cold or doing something, concentrating, I'd make another cup of tea and use those 2 tea bags to get the other cup of tea. It was fine. Not a problem. And, it might have been a little weaker at the end of the day, but that's not it's not really an issue, is it? Because tea still has a fair whack of caffeine in it, especially black tea. It actually has more caffeine than coffee, but the difference is, how to explain it? The difference is that coffee is brewed longer generally. It's like the beans are roasted and then the coffee is actually brewed from those beans longer and with hotter water over that length of time. So more caffeine is extracted in that process. Because on average, let me see, what have I done? Let me find my notes. Yep. 1 cup of black tea contains between 47 and 90 mg of caffeine. And the coffee is about 15 to 60. So, but again, it's the temperature of the water and the brewing steeping time is what makes the difference. So I was a little excited to find that my tea consumption was well within the World War II rations. Now, according to one World War II ration book, they allowed the equivalent of 25 tea bags a week. So I was using 14 a week. So if tea was actually rationed, I'd still be able to have my cup of tea and enjoy it. And I'd be able to give visitors a cup of freshly brewed tea when they came too. So that made me happy. And we did okay on coffee too, because Wayne, he has 1 cup in the morning, 1 cup of an afternoon when he gets home, and we sit down and chat about our day. So that's 2 teaspoons of his coffee a day. So that's pretty good. That would one 500-gram tin lasts us a long time. Now, the boys don't drink tea or coffee, so that was okay. The rest of the time we drank water, or we had cordial, homemade cordial. I did make a batch of hot chocolate drink mix when the weather turned really, really cold and wintry, because just middle of the afternoon, I just felt like something nice and sweet and hot. It was just the right pick-me-up. So it was a hot chocolate drink mix. Now, that recipe's on our website. It's easy to find. Just type in hot chocolate drink mix in the search. It'll come up for you. Really simple and cheaper than buying the Cadbury sachets or whatever. I've been making it for years. When the kids were at school in winter, when they come home from school, I would give them hot chocolate with their fruit. So they had something to warm them up. Now back to the challenge. Before the challenge started, I took a really good look at the meal plan and I checked the pantry. Then I spent an afternoon and I shifted things around in the freezers. I moved everything out of the small freezer over the fridge, and then I moved the meat, the chicken, the fish, the veggies that I estimated we would need according to the meal plan into that little freezer, just to have it all in one place. And then on my whiteboards, and I'm sure some of you have probably seen the whiteboards I have on the freezer, I listed how much of each thing was in there. So, mince, fish might have been 5, ravioli was 2, pasta sauce was 5, I think, that sort of thing. And as I took one out, I just change the number that was in there. Now, that worked really, really well. Really, really well. And I may end up doing that every month just because it's easier and it's really good time management. It really is so much easier to have everything in the one place in the kitchen than to have to go digging in the outside freezer and then the laundry freezer and then the kitchen freezer every day looking for what I wanted or what we'd need. It's just something I'm thinking about. I'll do anything to make life easier. But I don't know whether I will or not. But, if I do, I've already tried it for a month. It worked really, really well. And look, honestly, anything to make life easier because life is getting harder fast. There's price rises and shortages. I'm finding every day there's more to do. I have more gardening to do. I've got more preserving to do. I'm starting more seeds. I'm doing more cooking from scratch. And I didn't think that was possible. More hunting out what we need. It's just more of everything in my day. And the days are really, really full. And so, often the only time I sit down is when I'm making a video or I'm driving. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not complaining. I'm really, really thrilled to be busy because it means that there's still time to prepare. But it's just non-stop, and I'm sure many of you are finding the same thing. It's just go, go, go all the time. I don't feel pressured or stressed. I just have this can't sit still feeling. Anyway, I don't think the challenge was that hard for us. The pantries were full before we started. So, and they usually are anyway, so it wasn't really that hard for us. The fresh fruit and vegetables were hard to go without, but we did have frozen, we had tinned fruit, we had dried fruit, I had rhubarb growing in the garden. The winter strawberries came in, so I was picking some strawberries every couple of days. They've been really nice. I know Wayne missed bananas, and when I got them on sale during the challenge, I felt really mean telling him he couldn't have them. But I mashed them and froze them and to use later. But he still got fresh fruit because I picked the rhubarb, and I did make a couple of rhubarb crumbles, rhubarb and apple crumble. I used tinned apples, and I did stewed rhubarb, which was really good because we had it with our breakfast. And of course we had the tinned peaches, and we had tinned pears, and there were some frozen berries. So we really weren't too we didn't really miss fruit that much. It was just the biting into an apple or an orange or a mandarin, because our fruit trees are just setting fruit. So there's not really anything out there to harvest at the moment. What else? We didn't run out of any toiletries or cleaning supplies, not that I expected to, because they are things that I buy a year ahead anyway. And they're the sort of things that are pretty static in our pantry. We use pretty much the same amounts all the time. So year in, year out, I just replace what we use. And those pantries were pretty well stocked. One thing I did do was, as something was used, I made sure it was added to the shopping list and replaced straight away. Now, I didn't put the replacements into the pantry. I've still got 2 bags sitting on the kitchen floor waiting to be put away. But there was a corner of our bedroom that looked like a mini mart, because I just had piles of what I've been buying. The pasta on sale, and whatever the choc bits were on sale, and some other things. So I was replacing what we used. I just wasn't putting it in the pantry, so I couldn't use it during this challenge. So I hope you were all replacing what you used, or at the very least making a note of what gaps you created so that you can restock, because now, especially now, is not the time to run the pantry down. And that was never the intention of this challenge. It was to see if we could live for a month out of the pantry. It wasn't to run the pantry down. I'm pretty sure I mentioned that a few times, to replace what you use so that you wouldn't be short at the end of the month. I hope that's what you were doing, because I've got a video coming up about this, but oh my goodness, I was shocked. I was traumatized by what I saw in the supermarkets last week. So yeah, I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that a month was easy. I know Jade mentioned in the comments, I think hers was the very first comment, a month would be easy. And it probably was easy because it wasn't a challenge. We started out with full pantries. We had time to prepare. So what we're going to do is another pantry test, and we're going to do it soon. But I'm not going to tell you when. It's going to be a surprise. It's a sudden, hi guys, you can only live on what you have event. No notice. And I'm going to do that because disasters don't give advance notice. They just happen. So right now, if we're smart, and I'm pretty sure we are looking ahead, and I know most of us are, And we are seeing that we need to prepare our pantries now, right now. And we need that to do that to save money and to avoid gaps that can't be filled. So my message isn't changing at all. It's still don't stop preparing. I need a drink of water. I've been talking too quickly and I'm getting too excited. I hope that you've reviewed your pantry test results and you've got a plan to fill any gaps and find the substitutes for the things that you can't get, because there are still some things or lots of things that we can't get. Just keep stocking your pantry. There's no excuse to not stock your pantry. Find room in the house. Find the time to hunt out what you need. Find the money. I know that's a hard thing, but find it. We've got mortgage interest rates rising twice in just a few weeks now, and more to come. So it just makes sense that buying what you need at today's price is going to free up money that you may need to cover unexpected bills or rate rises in the future. Start a garden. There is no such thing as a brown thumb. There just isn't. It does not exist. Pay down your debt. Keep stocking your pantry and keep preparing, because I really hope that you'll be ready to test your pantry when the next test is announced without any warning. You don't know when it's going to happen. You just know it's coming. So my best advice is don't stop preparing. Just keep stocking your pantries. Keep on preparing. Keep moving. Don't sit down. It's not the time to sit and contemplate. It's the time to get up and act. All right, now I'm going to flip back over to the comments so I can see what you've all been saying, because I really want to know how you actually survived the 1 month pantry test. I'm a bit nervous. I'm a bit nervous to hit the window and see what you've got to say. But I hope that it was a learning curve. I really hope that it was a way we could, or you could, I could find the areas where our pantry was going to let us down and fix those faults. All right, let's see. Oops. There we go. I will say, guys, I gave in over the weekend and bought a couple of punnets of cos lettuce and planted them. I planted lettuce seeds a few weeks ago and they're starting to come up, but they're going to be a while off before they'll be quite big enough to pick. It's just been too cold. Even with the tunnel over them, it's been too cold. All right, lots of hellos. Utah. Thank you. I should have that written on my screen somewhere so I don't forget it. Trina did well till last weekend. Life got in the way. Life gets in the way with everything. That's why it's called life. Jane ran out of Tim Tams. That'd be a disaster. Karen ran out of fresh fruit and veggies. Tegan grows her veggies. She doesn't buy them. Perth, a whole red cabbage is $7. That's not too bad compared to the prices we're seeing over here. Delaney, winter clothes. Yeah. It is cold. It is cold. Really, really cold this year. I've heard it's the coldest start to winter for 70 years. And so the boys just rolled their eyes when I said them. So when I tell people I can't remember winter ever being this cold, I'm not lying and I'm not exaggerating. So I wasn't around 70 years ago. But it has been cold. I've been layering up. I've been really strict about keeping doors closed and vents closed and making sure the drafty things across the bottom of the doors, all that sort of thing. Making sure, and I've been walking around telling everyone, put slippers on, put another jumper on. Been a bit of a nag. Yeah. Great idea. Kylie ended up using sorrel to replace lettuce on homemade burgers. It would taste delicious. Catherine had milk in the freezer, but she did run out of some fruit and veg. Had frozen tin and dehydrated vegetables. So overall, no gaps. Yes. Really good. Right. Lois ran out of fresh fruit and veg, but had some in the freezer, ran out of fresh milk. Yeah. She had a few gaps, but not as many as she expected. That's really good. That's excellent to know. And you had substitutes that you were able to use, so that's even better. Really, really good. Usually gets 2 to 3 mugs of tea with 1 Lipton's tea bag. Yeah. Trina, I hope you feel better soon. So 35 plus years of buying morning fresh. Was using more than ever, switched to Aldi, far cheaper, and now use less than a quarter per watch. Morning fresh actually has changed. They still have the small bottles that started out at 450 ml and went down to 400 and then down to 395, and now I think they're about 380. They're very tiny. The bottle looks the same, but the contents are shrunk. They've changed the recipe. I used to be able to dilute morning fresh 50-50 with water, and it would be just as good. It's the newer ones, the more expensive ones that come on sale now, the new ones don't seem to be as strong. So that's another shrinkflation thing happening. The Aldi concentrate, the Tandil concentrate, is still quite good. I can still dilute that quite successfully. Karen is going to grow some more veggies, and 2 new fruit trees and more seeds. Yes, seeds are going to be really, seeds are going to be gold. I know people scream at me, but seeds are going to be gold because, you know, seeds actually do something useful. They grow food. They can grow plants that we can use to weave cloth. Seeds make medicines. Seeds are really useful. Sorry, I've lost where I was, that's all. Still looking. Kathleen used dried mushrooms rehydrated and dried onions rehydrated when the fresh ran out. I still had some fresh, but I had some in the freezer. I also have dehydrated. I used dehydrated tonight. Just toss them in. I use so much easier when you're making soup. Just toss in a handful of dehydrated onion, dehydrated oven. Jane's busy. Yes, she's not sitting still. She's keeping going. Kathleen said lunches were the hardest part when they ran out of bread. Tried alternatives. I was making bread. I was doing 2 loaves a week, so it wasn't too bad. I made some flatbreads that were okay, and we had wraps in the freezer that Thomas found in the freezer. So they were able to make burritos one night with the wraps. They're not difficult to make. I keep saying I'm going to buy a tortilla press and never do, just because the rolling hurts my wrists, but maybe one day. They're just so expensive, what they are. Great, Catherine did it. She still shopped. She just didn't use it. Yes. Delaney's talking about rice paper. We were talking about this. Alan and I were talking about this the other day. Because do you remember when I used to make spring rolls for you, and I used to make rice paper rolls, but I used to make spring rolls for you? And I think, oh yeah, they were really good. Well, they were just like the rice paper rolls, deep fried. Well, not even deep fried. I shallow fried them in the fry pan. I love them. Little sweet and sour sauce. Very nice. Over the weekend, I was really excited to be shopping, and I met, or a cheapskater tapped me on the shoulder, or she didn't tap me on the shoulder, she spoke to me, and it was Rosalie. Rosalie has been a Cheapskates Club member for a long time, a long, long time. So it was really nice to put a face to the name. And she posted over on Cheapskates Chatter, and for new people, that's our Facebook group, that she actually started her winter veg in February. She planned it out early, so she's harvesting, doing a really good harvest now. Her post is on Cheapskates Chatter, and I thought that's a really good idea. So often we get intimidated by, because I know I did the video, what to plant in seeds to sow in June. But you can do them earlier. You don't have to wait till June. You can do them earlier, or you can do them a bit later. They will still grow. It will just change the way they grow. I know, I can grow salad veg here all year round. It just takes longer. So if I plant cucumbers and zucchini in September, we're eating them November, December without a problem. But I can plant some in March. We may not get them till August, July, August, maybe September. They'll be slower, but we will get them. They will still grow. Lettuce grow all year round, but they take a bit longer. They take a couple of weeks longer. So if you're thinking about starting your gardens, think about planting, especially if you're going to rely on it to feed you, think about starting it earlier or planting out a little bit earlier. And if you've got plants that are frost sensitive, cover them so the frost doesn't get them. Now, Karen's got food in containers that have to go back in the pantry now. Yes, I think we're all like that. Delaney likes to do these challenges often throughout the year, so she's prepared and less likely to feel deprived during times you need to rely on what you have on hand. Yes. Just gone. Goodness. Catherine says, no notice is good, as in reality we need to be prepared for anything. Yes, we do. We don't get notice. Earthquakes don't give notice. Unemployment generally doesn't give notice. A huge financial crash, we might see it coming, but you still don't actually get that notice. You can think it's coming, and the way things are, it's been really volatile lately. So it's been up, it's been down, it's been up, it's been down, it goes back up, it comes crashing down. There's going to come to a point where it crashes down and it just won't go up again. We won't get noticed about that happening. And that means, everything will happen. I know already there's been a run on banks in China since April. Some of the Chinese banks have actually just been locking people out of their accounts. Hope that never happens here. That would be a disaster. But good on you, Caroline. Way to go. She's talked to a mortgage provider to reduce the mortgage rate. Excellent. What else? Oh, no. Oh dear, lots of lives. No, I hit the wrong thing. All right. Tegan ran out of sour cream, decided not have it. You can make sour cream. It's not that difficult. You can do a yogurt version. You can do the cultured version. It's actually not that difficult. Stick to the recipe. How long can you keep packet seed for? Depends how you keep it. If you put it if you buy it and you buy it fresh and you keep it in its envelope and then vacuum seal it and put it in the freezer, it will last almost indefinitely. If you leave it somewhere where it's going to get hot and cold and damp and whatever, it won't last at all. So it really depends on how you keep it. But I'm using seed that is 5, 6, 7, 8 years old. The germination rate is lower, but it's still above 50%, so that's not too bad. But I am careful about how I keep my seeds. Alrighty. If you're in Queensland, New South Wales, or Victoria, you most definitely, and South Australia, you most definitely need to get your blackout plans sorted. No excuses for not being prepared for that happening. Know where your torches are. Know where your batteries are. If you have solar chargers for your phone, your laptop, your torches, whatever, make sure you know where they are. We should be using those anyway because that is still free at the moment and we don't have to pay the power company for that. Know if you're going to use candles, know where the matches or the lighters are. Have a way to heat your home and stay warm. Have a way to cook, to boil water for hot drinks or whatever, washing, whatever. So I think that's really how it's so cold here that's going to be our trial for this year, whereas Northern Hemisphere, so very hot, and they are going to have the trial of trying to stay cool when it is so very, very hot, and they are having rolling blackouts too. Karen's using Sprouts. I like Sprouts. Sprouts are really good. Now, when I used to do catering, Sprouts on the sandwiches instead of lettuce because Sprouts don't fall out like lettuce does. So if you're doing egg and lettuce or you're doing salad or whatever, anything that had lettuce on it, use Sprouts. Substitute Sprouts because they don't fall apart in the sandwich. They also don't make the sandwich go soggy, and they're really quick. And they're cheap. And one packet of seeds will feed you for quite a while. And you don't really need any fancy equipment to grow sprouts. Hang on. Not a dumb question. Just if it bothers you, just scoop it out. Have to say, what they can't see, they don't know it's in there. If it really bothers you, scoop it out. It won't hurt you. All right. Okay. Okay, Glennis was doing great on the challenge, but had several stints in hospital. Oh, that's no good. Had a couple of gaps, but that's okay. Got them sorted. So you were able to work out what you need to be able to cover you going into hospital during some sort of non-shopping period so that nobody misses out on anything, which would be really good. Caroline's garlic starting to shoot. Yay, I planted out 55 cloves and that Lacey dog dug up 54. I planted them again, so let's hope they're like the rhubarb, because honestly, I was just about in tears when I noticed. Kathleen started sourdough starter last week. Yay, good to go. Somebody discovered boys don't really like beans or legumes. Sorry, I've lost the comment now. Oh, it's gone. Okay, sorry about that. You know what? I know there's things I don't like to eat. I was thinking about them before while I was getting dressed, and I was thinking about the cost of meat and, you know, what we could do. And, you know, there is no way. Cost of meat, and that led me to think of the World War II ration book challenge that's going around Facebook at the moment, where people are going to live for a month on their World War II rations. And I was thinking, it's a really good test, I suppose, but there need to be some caveats on that, because we don't eat the way they did in World War II. We just don't. We eat a much healthier, in terms of, you know, carbs and saturated fats and things. We eat a much healthier diet. So we would almost need to adapt it for that. But then that got me thinking, it was a no waste. There was no waste. They used everything. So they used the entire animal. So they, you know, they used the meat from the sheep, but then they used the brains, and they used the trotters from the pig as well. And they used the hooves, the feet from the calves. They used all the offal, the kidneys, the liver, tripe. I don't even know I've never cooked tripe. I don't think I've ever eaten it. If I have, I don't remember doing it. And I don't even know where you'd buy it. I think it would be, you would have to go to a specialty butcher and order it. But there was no waste. They used everything, and they ate a very different diet to us. We don't tend to eat those things. I know that there's cooking shows on TV that have tried to turn offal into, you know, the next big fad food. and it hasn't taken off. So I don't know. Those are things that I wouldn't eat either. So with your kids not liking the beans and lentils, maybe that's fine. They don't have to. As they get older, they might be more prepared to try things because their tastes will change. But also, if the shell grit does hit the fan and that's all you have, then they will eat it because they will be hungry. And that sounds mean and harsh, but if that's all you've got, that's what they'll eat. They may not like it, they may not enjoy it, but they'll eat it. And so if all I've got is lamb's fry, then, and I was really, really hungry, then I would probably force it down. It most definitely is not my favourite thing. And I can remember gagging on steak and kidney pudding and steak and kidney pie when I was a child. Yuck. Absolutely loathe, awful. But if that's all I've got and I'm hungry enough, I think I would probably force myself. Kids are much the same. Okay. There we go. It's 2 siege night here in Western Sydney. That's cold. But you know what, guys? It's winter. It is supposed to be cold. I know we're complaining about, oh, it's the coldest start to winter in 70 years, yada, yada, yada. It's supposed to be cold. It's winter. It is supposed to be cold. We are spoilt with our climate-controlled homes and climate-controlled workplaces and climate-controlled cars and shopping centres and public transport and classrooms for our kids. Everything's climate-controlled. And we actually don't know how to stay warm in winter or how to stay cool in summer anymore. Our bodies have changed and cannot cope with hot or cold. Yeah, Krista, exactly. Krista's mum lived through World War II in Germany, and she always said, you'll wish you had this food one day. You will. I remember I used to get, the orphans in Africa would really love that. Usually over tinned asparagus because that was about the only thing I flatly refused to eat. I used to want to bundle it up and send it to the orphans in Africa. But it's true. If you're we are spoiled. We don't really know what it's like to be hungry, to be starving, to be so gaunt, so lacking nutrition that we can't lift our heads. We can't walk anymore. We can't even sit up. All we can do is lie down on the ground. We are so blessed that we do not know what that is like. So when we talk about, I'm starving or, I'm dying of hunger, no, we're not. We're just spoiled. And I guess that's one thing that the World War II ration challenge would actually show us, just how little they had to live on. I know there were some comments about it being really carb heavy and lots of fats and things. But again, very different lifestyle. It was, I was going to say more labor intensive, not more labor intensive, more energy intensive, in that, they still had to do the floors and do the washing and do the floors, do the washing, whatever else. But they didn't have the tools that we have to do it. So they put more energy into it. Sweeping was done with a broom. Floors were mopped on their hands and knees with a bucket and a rag. Washing was put through a wringer. Ironing was, until even into the 50s and 60s. Some places still had irons that had hot coals in them that weren't electric. So they didn't have refrigerators to keep food cold like we did. So every day had to be shopping day. Every day had to be a cooking day. So it was much different. So they could eat the carbs and eat those fats and not gain a lot of weight because they burned it off. Whereas we could go on that and still gain weight because we lead a pretty inactive lifestyle compared to back then. So I've lost the comment I was talking to, but anyway, we are lucky to have the food that we have in the quantities that we have, and we are lucky to have the home preservation options that we have. Beverly's mentioned the Back in Time for Dinner series. I'm not sure whether it's on iView or not. It did run again a few weeks ago. Really good series on the ABC. Yes, and Jane's got Wartime Farm and Wartime Kitchen. Interesting to watch too. There's nothing wrong with bread and dripping, fried bread and dripping, yum, with an egg on top. Delicious. But we don't work as hard, so we don't burn it off as much. All right. Maddie's granddad would walk 10 kilometres to work each day and then back again probably and burn off Nana's cooking. That's what you did. Kids used to walk to school. And now they get driven to school or they go on special school buses, you know. We're not doing our kids favours. Mary says when she's a child, offal was the go as meat was expensive. Roast chicken was reserved for special occasions. It was too. I remember chicken was a Sunday roast. Well, it was special because you'd have roast beef or roast lamb. Now, who wouldn't kill for a leg of lamb to roast or a shoulder to roast? So Back in Time for Dinner is still on iView. Cool. And Kathleen says it's really the extra sugars we need to burn off. Yeah, true. And our food's not even as sweet as it is in some places. Maddie, I saw Scotch fillet advertised on sale for $48.99 a kilo. Now, not that long ago, not that many years ago, Scotch fillet was poor man's steak. It was really cheap. Now, it's a great cut of meat. It is a really good cut of meat for frying. It's a really tender cut for frying. But it was regarded as poor man's steak. And now, $48.99 a kilo, that's 2/3 of a week's grocery budget on 1 kilo of steak. So it's going to be, I've got a video coming up on this. It's a stupid price. It is a stupid price, and it is being priced stupidly, deliberately. There you go. I'll say it now, and I'll talk more about that in the other video. Jane used to row across the Clarence River, then walk a kilometre to get to and from the school bus. So you got your exercise by that. Now, Krista's learning a new way of cooking with canned meats. Yes. Now, I can't remember. Tinned corned beef was a topic of conversation the last few days. Now, I don't like tinned corned beef. I don't like tinned ham. I don't like tinned corned beef. But my mum used to make this, we just called it corned beef pie, and she always used tinned corned beef. Now, when she made it, I was a child, so it was a long time ago, and there wasn't such a thing as a generics, didn't exist in those days. So it was a brand name, and I have a feeling it was English. I don't think it was an Australian product. I think it was English. And she would make this corned beef pie, and it was corned beef and veggies, and she would put pickles, sweet mustard pickles in it, and with mashed potato and some cheese on top, and bake it in the oven. It is the most, I love that pie. And I don't buy tinned corned beef, but if I have corned beef on the meal plan, I cut a piece off to use to make that corned beef pie because it's so good. And the recipe is, if you type in corned beef pie, it'll come up on our website. And I think I did post it on Facebook just the other day when I was talking about it. But tinned corned beef is actually really expensive. You can buy the generic Coles one. It works out to around $8 a kilo. But it's not that nice. It's really fatty and really, really salty. And I know corned beef is salty anyway. Or you can buy one of the branded ones, but depending on which one you buy, it's anything from $20 to $30 a kilo is what it works out to be. So tinned meat isn't cheap. Tinned meat isn't necessarily cheap. That's the corned beef. I haven't priced tinned hams, but it's like salmon and tuna are going up too, and I think sardines are as well. I don't eat sardines either. I'm a bit fussy. Oh, sorry, Karen. I don't think so, Karen. I think it was English because Mum, being a Scot, she had this. She was very fixed on particular brands, and I know that when she first came to Australia, that was one thing she found really, really hard, not being able to get the branded things that she was used to getting. But the Primrose tinned hot dogs are really good for camping because take them in the tin so they don't need refrigeration. But what we do is we have a food thermos and put the hot dogs in, fill it with boiling water over the top, put the lid on, do that in the morning. Then we have hot dogs for lunch in bread or a wrap, or if I've got buns, hot dog buns. That works really well with the tinned ones. I actually don't mind those. I've got no idea what's in them. I'm too scared to look, but I don't mind those. I've never tried the tinned chicken, Jade, because I do my own ugly chicken, jarred ugly chicken, and it's really good. Plum rose, thank you, Delaney. Thank you. I knew it was something. Okay. Suzanne, that might have been it. Hamper brand, is that British? I don't know. Anyway. Okay. We're plant-based, so I'm grateful because we can make easy substitutions like flax, eggs, cheese, etc. I think I made the month challenge easier. It may well have. Hannah and I were talking over the weekend about cheese. Because we're talking about she has a friend who's lactose free, and Hannah, she's going to stay with Han, and she said she's been looking at the lactose-free cheeses, and she said they do not look appetizing. And so I don't know because I haven't looked at them. So I don't know. But anything that if you have ingredients, you have substitutes for most things. So whether you're plant-based or not, ingredients give you the option to be able to make those substitutes, to be able to do those swaps. Hamper brand corned beef says made in Australia. Okay, thanks, Suzanne. Hi, Kerry. Frey bentos. Yes, Mum used to buy the steak and kidney pies in a sort of a roundish, shallow, sort of funny, sort of bowl-shaped tin. Not my favourite thing at all. Okay, Maddie says the lactose-free cheese tastes like the long life shelf cheeses. Okay. Okay, all right. Well, there we go. So we survived. We are going to keep preparing. We are going to keep looking ahead and think about what's coming in terms of spring, summer, next autumn, next winter. What family events do you have coming up? What holidays do you have planned? As well as the national, state, local, national, or world events that are happening around us, so that we can plan and plot and prepare. Just don't stop. Just keep doing it. I don't think you can ever really be over-prepared. I will say, use your pantry. Just use your pantry. Don't have it sit there and not use it. That is wasteful. But once you've got it built to where you want it to be, as you use things, replace them so that it never, ever runs down. And I'm going to go. I'm out of breath. I'm just out. So I think we all survived reasonably well. And I'm glad we did. I hope you learned as much from it as I did. I was pretty sure we'd be okay, but there were some things that I thought, I really wish we had fresh milk. I know that we will need more UHT milk, and we could probably use more powdered milk. I think I was rationing those things because I didn't want to run out completely, so I was rationing them. And I guess in a real disaster situation, I'd be rationing them anyway. But it was interesting that subconsciously, I didn't consciously go, okay, well, we're not going to do that. It was all subconscious. It was in the back of my mind that I only had X amount of this to last however long, a month or 3 weeks or 2 weeks, however long it was when we needed it. And I was really conscious of making it last. So that's one thing I took out of it. There are a couple of gaps. Could do with more honey, planting more fresh veggies, thinking about more fresh fruit. You know, the apples are finished. The citrus hasn't started yet. Peaches and raspberries are hibernating. I've got some strawberries, the rhubarb's going. So, you know, little things like that, and making sure that we have enough potatoes. Because we like our potatoes. We have potatoes 2 or 3 times a week. We will have potato in some form. And so making sure that we have enough potatoes to get us through were all things that I discovered. Some of those things you may have discovered too. But anyway, keep preparing, because one day when you least expect it, I'm going to spring another challenge on you, and it's going to be for 3 months. Alrighty, guys, thank you so much for joining me tonight. As I said, I will be posting more short videos this week. I'm really glad you're enjoying them. Just don't forget to like them, and if you haven't already done it, please click that thumbs up and like this video. It's down there underneath me. If you do that, I know it gives me an idea of what you like to watch, and I can put more time into creating those particular videos for you. If you know someone who might like this show, or who might like to know more about the Cheapskates Club, there is a share link. Please use it. Doing that spreads the word about Cheapskates Club, but it also makes YouTube go, oh, people like this channel. Must be something good here. Now we know there is something good here. So if you click the button, it sends them a link. We don't harass them in any way. And like I said, if you're not already a subscriber to our channel, please click that subscribe button, then click the bell and select how often you want to be notified of new shows, new live streams. It really helps our channel and it helps YouTube. But more importantly, it really helps our channel. Helps our channel be recognized out there in the big wide world of YouTube videos. And the more easy it is to find us, the easier it is to spread the word about living life debt-free, cashed up and laughing. Okay, thank you again. I'll be back live next Tuesday night. In the meantime, happy cheapskating and stay safe and warm. I'll see you in a week.